What is the least hated Pokemon game?
Well, hate is a strong word, so I'll use dislike for most of this short.
We've all seen people talk about the loved Pokemon games like Emerald, Platinum, Johto remakes, and Unova sequels. And Pokemon games people dislike like Sun and Moon, Sword and Shield, BDSP, and Dash? But what is the least disliked Pokemon game? This is not to be confused with the most loved Pokemon game, by the way. In an earlier video, I said that every Pokemon game has its fair share of haters. Just note, we're only counting core series games, and that includes Legends, because yes, it is classified as core series. To start, every Pokemon game on Switch is out of the question because Dex it. Even Legends Arceus, which is probably the least disliked Switch Pokemon game, still can be disliked due to its major differences from the other games. And I've seen many people criticize Legends ZA despite it not even being out yet. All 3DS Pokemon games also have something to dislike about them, whether it be the transition to full 3D, the easy difficulty, or Lola's long dialogue. Oros is the least disliked on that system, and aside from IGN claiming that it has too much water, some people think it overhyped fans' expectations for the underwhelming Sinnoh remakes, and strayed too far from other remakes. Their words, not mine. The DS era is seen as the peak of Pokemon, and even those games have some dislike. The original Diamond and Pearl are hated for its slowness and oversights, and there even are a small minority of people I've seen that didn't care for Platinum either, because it still felt a little slow, even with the performance buffs and upgrades. It also sucks if you're trying to complete the Pokédex. Black and White were initially ridiculed at launch for not having any old Pokemon in the main story. But my main issue with these games, speaking from my experiences, is the plasma battle padding. The only slight the sequels have from what I heard is an inferior story to the originals. Heart Gold and Soul Silver are regarded as the best on the DS, some believe it's the best of all time. But I have seen a minority of hate on its level gaps being worse than Base Gold Silver. Speaking of, let's go to the Game Boy. Those games are ridiculed with oversights, glitches, and imbalances that give the games a few dislikers. Crystal's probably the least disliked on the Game Boy though, unless you're a Mareep fan. Going to the GBA, Ruby and Sapphire were ridiculed at launch because you couldn't catch them all anymore. Not until the Kanto remakes released, which also had some problems people would dislike, like evolution and trade locking and disappearing roamers. I really struggled to find a reason why Emerald would be disliked, unless you're a Meta-type fan. What reasons I could get with a little help was the upgraded Pokénap, battle tents replacing contests, evil team padding, more difficult gyms, Mirage Tower, and maybe making Ruby and Sapphire redundant. Probably another reason why a minority of people would dislike the definitive versions outside of it's the original versions all over again. Therefore, I must say Black 2 and White 2 are the least disliked Pokemon games, Emerald being a close second. I mean, I've never met a person who disliked the Unova sequels. But if you have other thoughts on what the least disliked game is, or other reasons why liked Pokemon games could be disliked, let me know.